So you mentioned tall grass grazing proponents. Do you think farming often rediscovers old practices and rebrands them as new ideas?
Yeah. Well, most of the tall grass grazing and that was introduced or supposedly introduced out of Africa. And there's a couple of really prominent people who brought this process in of actually, grazing very tall pastures. Now, they're in a very dry, brittle environment, and it works exceedingly well over the winter months there because they have dry climate. So it's like standing hay. Like in the summer, it grows, grows beautifully, and then it dries out. In the winter, there's frost, cold, but there's no degradation over the winter period. So they get to graze the grass and graze it and then graze it again. So they go through it about 3 times over the winter on a very low rainfall. Like
a good use of the resource.
Totally. And in our climate, you can't do that because in the winter, it's wet and it all falls over and it goes rotten. But in the summertime, you're looking like what you'd call deferred grazing, where you might defer a paddock and just leave it there as standing hay and then go back and break fence it off instead of making a crop. Mm-hmm. But these issues are like going tall grass or something like that. You actually have to have tall grass to start with. We couldn't even grow it tall. It would all fall over. So then you have to understand, well, why could some places grow it tall and others not? And so those tall grasses on a drier, more heavier clay soils, timothy, cocksfoot, prairie grass, all those sorts of things handle that process really well. And in the South Island and a few places in North Island, you can actually do it really well in a dry climate. Like you actually set up a few paddocks like that as your summer crop and braze it off. But that was not the case with us. We couldn't do that. We just wouldn't. It wouldn't stand up. And over time, I've understood the nutrition side of that, and it's the lack of silicon to actually grow those types of grasses.
Okay. Let's talk about soil health and cycles. You talk about the importance of soil biology a lot. Why do you think these natural cycles are often overlooked in modern farming?
Don't make money out of them.
Okay.
Except the farmer does.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. The thing about it is it's all a part of a system of nature. And what we don't take into account when trial work is undertaken is what's the baseline, what are you trying to achieve, how is that going to impact the multiple factors across the board, and it's really, we're just going to trial this product. Going, well, what's the use of one product if you don't know what your baseline is, and how does this affect the whole downstream process? So if you don't actually have a baseline and you don't know what you're actually trying to achieve, the trial's worthless.
Yeah. Just going back to the trial plots, actually, is an animal that has a preference for a certain meal or supplement type on the land taste better when they've got the one they like?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. As we progress through the book and that, there's no doubt nutrition rules. And over time when we had the butcher shop, we, for 15, 16 odd years, we processed animals every week. And what we did on the farm was expressed in those animals.
So in terms of grazing lessons, you described a danger of grazing plants too early. How's that understanding of photosynthesis and soil health shaped your approach to farming? Well,
this approach with the tall grass grazing and everything is like you don't want livestock on a piece of ground for longer than 3 days. Even if that's 1, 2, 3 breaks, because after the 3rd day, it'll be starting to sprout again. If you bite that off, you're wasting energy for the plant. The plant shoots itself back up so it can photosynthesize.
Right.
If its leaf can't get up and start photosynthesizing, you've stolen the energy from under the ground, and the plant then goes, would you just leave me alone? Yeah. So, basically on and off. And so as farms get better, and I mean, even it's happening at Dad's place right now, we're still putting in water troughs because the size of the break gets smaller because there's more feed growing, and we need to put a trough in a different place so that we can actually only graze them for the 3 days and then get them off again. And this is how farms slowly evolve. Things have to change as you're growing more and more feed and how you're evolving with the type of livestock and how you manage them.
Do you have many bugger moments on this farm?
Oh, lots.
Yeah. Any funny ones you can remember?
I can remember Reese Mello was working with us, and we used to make our own water troughs, and like it was a big deal on some of these paddocks to get a water trough into the middle of it. So at least you could break them into 4. Some of these paddocks were still like 20 acres. So we could get it down to 4 and this. And I remember going up the hill and we were just about at the place where we were going to drop this water trough off, and it was on the carry tray of the tractor, and it slipped off the back. Well, it ended up in the bottom of the gully, didn't it? In a million pieces.
Ah, bugger.
Yeah, oh, bugger. So as like, these are the things about dealing with hills. So, next time we backed up the hill.
Yeah, smart.
To push it off. And so there's lots of things that you do and you go, oh, God, why did I do that? I was in a hurry. You had to get a rugby practice or something like that, and all of a sudden it's now taken me 3 times as long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and making water troughs wasn't my premium idea of fun, but it did save quite a bit of money, and there was one of those things that, and it really helped keep the farm ticking, moving water troughs and getting things in place and that. So lots of bugger moments, huge numbers of them.
In those early days before you started making your own brews, and you're coming to the realizations on the cost of things on a farm, the inputs and all of the expenses. When did you realize the modern farm's input costs versus what it could be? In other words, it didn't have to be so high.
Well, I guess the thing is that you've only got so much to spend. And so when I first did those trial plots, I worked out what have I got to spend and what result am I likely to get from what I spend. Up until then, I don't know of any other fertiliser trials from the fertiliser companies or the universities. They'd all gone, oh, we put this on and this is what happened. And going, hold on here, I've only got $80 a hectare to spend or whatever. How much can I spend and expect to get a result? That was really ingrained in me right from the start, especially on the dairy farming. And this is where dairy farming seems to get completely lost, is that dairy farming reality is you're looking at profit per hectare. Not kilograms of milk solids produced. It's what you have as a profit at the end of the year. We were well driven by that, and that's why I was quite happy to leave the dairy farm, because the costs in the ploughing and the drainage and that added to the cost per hectare of production. Okay? So when you're looking at this process and going, well, where's the happy point of production, cost, and profit? And so, oh, well, if I put all of these inputs in, I can produce this. But then I didn't make any money. Or if I can put this amount of inputs in and produce 80% of what that absolute premium is, but I've got the biggest gap of profit at the top, at the in between. Now, this is where I see it all the time with dairy farmers, specifically dairy farmers who have, oh, well, we did 1,500 kilograms of milk solids per hectare. Going, oh, yeah, really? How much did you bring into the farm? Oh, we only bought so much palm kernel. Oh, yeah. How much nitrogen? Oh, yeah. How much is the carbon falling in your soil? And they actually haven't done an assessment of cost of what their farm has actually produced, really produced, what the farm produced and what they bought in to make the production.
Are they getting diminishing returns based on their high inputs of fertilizers and chemicals and infrastructure?
It's beggars belief that some farmers can make $4,000 to $5,000 net per hectare, and others can only just make 500. And they're they're looking at the shift in production costs on the payout going up 20 or 30 cents a kilogram for their extra profit.
They're hanging off something they can't control.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing that you can control is your input costs for outward production. And they've lost control of that, absolutely. And this is, when I was in the previous chapters about going to the maize seminars and things like that.
Yeah.
Like we looked at, we need to make the paddocks better. What have we got that's the tools that are at hand? Chicken manure was available. It was a nitrogen source. Lime was available. Cool. Let's whack in. We didn't use any chemicals. We didn't do any of those things. So we grew the lowest cost maize you possibly could grow, and we got a hell of a good crop. Well, I thought that's what it was all about.
Sure.
Okay, but these guys that went into it probably cost them 3 to 4 times the amount to grow the crop than what we spent. Now, there's no profit at the end of that, and there's a whole lot more work So this is what I'm saying is like people need to get their heads around input costs against outward costs for profit in between. So the most profitable dairy farmer may only do 800 kilograms a hectare if he's organic. His costs might be $4 a kilogram a hectare, $4 a kilo to produce that milk solid, and he's getting $11 a kilo. So, 11, that's $7 a kilo, maybe.
Maybe.
If he's really good. So he didn't have to do masses and masses of production to actually make a decent profit. Now, there's other guys that are saying that they're doing 1,500 kilograms a hectare, and their costs are $8, and the payout was $8.20.
Oof.
Okay, so now look at the profit margin in that. You're squeaking everything you do. And what you've done is you've paid everybody else first. The feed, the fertiliser, and all it did was made you run.
Yeah.
And that really, over time, with having my own block in Waihi, it was always about how do we actually produce that cheaper and better quality at the right cost.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's nothing left for anybody.